Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to World of Tanks here with the FCM 36. Just did the Renault R35 review, so this is going to be the FCM 36 review. Um, so, yeah, I got this thing because of the looks, as I stated. Because look at it, it looks amazing. It's probably the best looking French tank, I think, other than perhaps the AMX, because the AMX is just so, look at it, it's so sloped and smooth. It's amazing, it's so sloped and smooth. You could just, like, slide down it. It's like a slide, it's amazing. And then the B1 is just, it's just a B1. It's amazing. But yeah, the FCM 36 is a very nice looking Tier 2 French light tank. It has got 140 hit points, which is terrible. That's the same as the Tetrarch, and the Tetrarch is known to be very light and fragile. However, the thing that differentiates this from the Tetrarch is the fact that it actually has armor. It's got 40 at the front, but we'll go over the armor in a little bit. But the hit points is very low. That's only 20 more than your Universal Carrier, and the Universal Carrier is a tank destroyer. So yeah, it doesn't have very much hit points, but then again, that's probably good because, like I said with the Renault, this thing would probably be like a tier 2 OI or OI experimental if it wasn't for this side armor, but we'll cover that later. It weighs 12 tons, and although it has a slightly better engine than the Renault, being 105 horsepower compared to 84 with the top engine, it only has a horsepower per ton ratio of 8.45, which means that it's not particularly mobile and it's not particularly fast. Using the stock engine on this, here it is, 91 horsepower, the Berlioz. The Berlioz MDP is the stock engine, I think. Then the upgraded is the Berlioz Recado. I don't know. But there it is, weighs 200 kilograms, 15% chance of being set on fire when impact. And it's 105 horsepower. But yeah, it's a very weighty, light tank, and it has got a whole load of armor, so it's not very fast, not particularly mobile. 34 degrees per second traverse speed, same as the Renault. So yeah, it turns all right. It has a decent enough traverse speed. But yeah, the top speed is no, it's not very well at all. However, that doesn't matter because you've got armor at tier 2. 40 at the front, 20 at the side, 20 at the rear, 40 all around the turret. There is no turret upgrade. This is the only turret you'll get, the RN3, the Tracteur RN3. 40 all around, 24 degrees per second traverse speed, and 280 meters view range. 28 meters view range would just be terrible. You may as well be walking and you'd see better. But yeah, so the armor is a bit odd, really, if I say, because 40 at the front is very good. That's sort of standard tier 2 French armor. However, the sides and rear are only 20. However, the thing that you've got to bear in mind here is that they're sloped. They do have a whole load of sloping. Look at that sloping at the side of the tank. That is very well sloped. So if you angle it, it's sloped already, so it increases the armor thickness because by sloping it increases the amount of armor that the shell actually has to get through in order to get into the tank. And if you add on that, if you angle your tank, you will create ricochets because you will further increase the armor thickness by first having it sloped already and then sloping it more by turning it. So I think overall you'd probably still have about 40 millimeters of side armor. And with the rear is also pretty sloped. Look at that. That is a very, very well sloped rear of the tank. It may only be 20 millimeters, but that is very, very well sloped. And it's only tier 2 after all, so with the sloping, autocannons are definitely going to be bouncing. And along here with the tracks, this is also sloping, which means that also increases armor. So it's only 20 at the side and rear, but with the sloping it's probably more like 40. I'm not exactly too sure on how much it is, but it's probably something like that. And then 40 at the front, and the turret is 40 all round, and once again the turret is also sloped. As you can see, the side of the turret here, that is all sloping. It's pretty much the same as the AMX 38's turret, sort of, because the AMX 38 has also got a very sloping turret, and this has definitely got lots of sloping on it, so yeah, it's 40 raw armor thickness, but then it's also sloped, and yeah, so yeah, there's the turret as I've shown. So yeah, the armor is very, very good down here at tier 2. And I really got this thing for the looks. I saw the fact that it only had 20 side and rear hull armor, but then I thought, I don't care, just keep my front pointed to the enemies, I'll be fine. Because it looks so cool, it's so imposing, look at that. Um, but yeah, moving on from the armor now to the guns. So the guns, you've got the 25mm and the 37 SA38. The stock gun is terrible. It's the same gun as was on the World War I Renault FTs. Here it is, 37mm APX SA18, 37mm, 3.08 rounds per minute rate of fire, 29 penetration, 46 with APCR. 18 with high explosive, 30 across the board with 36 average damage. The penetration is terrible, the average damage is alright, highly inaccurate 0.5 dispersion, and a 2-second aiming time, weighs 100 kilograms. It's pretty terrible. Then you've got the upgraded version, which is the 37mm SA38, 37mm, 21.43 rounds per minute rate of fire. I don't know whether that's actually more than what's on this one. Hold on. 37. It won't pop up. It's because I already have it up. Okay. Apparently it is. I thought it was slightly different. But still. 21.43 rounds per minute rate of fire, which is alright. That's pretty fast. 34mm of average pen. 67 with APCR, 24 with high explosive, 40 across the board, damage 45, slightly bad dispersion but still terrible, 0.48, 2-second aiming time, 70 kilograms of weight. So it has better penetration, it has a slightly faster rate of fire, does slightly more damage, still highly inaccurate, same aiming time and weighs slightly less, and this is comparing it to the stock gun. Comparing it to the other gun that you can have, which is the 25mm Canon something or other Model 1934, which is the gun that I use, it does lose out on a whole load of factors. It has got a higher caliber, 37 compared to 25, however it has a slower rate of fire, 21.43 compared to 26.09, less penetration with AP and APCR, 46 compared to 34 and 68 compared to 67, so with standard AP, the 25mm is much better, but with APCR, you only lose out on 1mm with the 37. And the 37 also gets to fire high explosive, which is 24mm of average penetration, but then again, it's high explosive. But then, countering that, it's only tier 2, so 24 average penetration is, although not particularly good, it's probably alright enough with high explosive, and after all, the high explosive will still explode and do damage, even if it doesn't penetrate. But if it does, it's only 45mm of average damage, so you'd probably be better off just with the 40 of AP. It's much more inaccurate and has a longer aiming time, 0.48 and 2 compared to 0.43 and 1.8. Wait. Oh, that's the shooting radius. Oh, right, okay. I was like, what? Why is there an extra number there? But no, that's the shooting radius. This doesn't have it because, I don't know, this drops off probably. But anyway, 40 average damage, like I said, is better than the 27 of the 25mm. But yeah, it's much more inaccurate, has a slightly longer aim time, weighs less, by 1 kilogram. So really it's up to whether you can deal with being inaccurate but having alright alpha damage compared to a blistering rate of fire with decent penetration but with a low alpha damage. I go with the 25 because it has got better penetration and it's also more accurate, although still being pretty inaccurate. 0.43 is not particularly good at all, but it's much more accurate. It has got a better rate of fire, it's slightly more accurate, it has got a better aiming time, and really the alpha damage is offset by the amount of fire that you'll be putting out, so you can afford to spray and pray with the 25mm. So yeah, I go with the 25mm, but once again, it's up to you really. It's up to whether you want alpha damage or high rate of fire. Same with the sort of British 2-pounder and 6-pounder. So yeah, With this tank, I've got 100% crew and vents, and that's pretty much it. I do have camo, but then that's it for the actual externals, which means that I reload at 2.16 seconds to reload the 25, which is alright. 24 degrees per second hot turret traverse, which is not very good at all. That's very slow. That's sort of Panzer 1 sort of traverse speed. It's the same as the Panzer 1. The Panzer 1 has got very, very bad traverse speed, but then again, you have armor, it doesn't. So yeah, 280 meters signal range, view range 290 meters signal range, which is terrible with its tier 2 radio. It's crummy tier 2 radio, the ER34. Weighs only 10 kilograms though, so yeah. It holds 150 rounds of Bal TP model 1928 armor piercing 25mm ammunition. So yeah, but the view range, the signal range is not very good at all. You know, even the T1E6 has got better signal range. So yeah, but then again, the view range is pretty standard tier 2 signal range. Then of course I've loaded up myself with some consumables, just some small repair kits, the standard things that anybody would fit once they've played World of Tanks for a little bit. Improved vents definitely useful. It's only a crew of 2, so give your commander some help from the heat from inside the tank, so improved vents is always useful. Enhanced springs to keep your tank rolling, like a movable steel pillbox that's constantly moving towards the enemy. So yeah, that'd be funny. Light spall liner. The actual raw thickness of the hull armor isn't particularly that good. However, the front of the hull and all the turret is alright, so spall liner is not a bad idea on this tank. Caminet, no, you're a French tank, you should keep on rolling and being at the front line as an assault tank. If you use the 25mm, you can be a sniper, but that's up to your playstyle. So if you're going to be a sniper, then sure, fit a caminet, but if not, don't bother with it, because you're slow, so you'll have to keep up with the battle if you're not a sniper. Ammo rack, in case your ammo rack is getting damaged, wet ammo rack. Binos, once again, if you're a sniper, use them. If you're not, don't. You're not going to be a scout, especially not with that speed. So, yeah, that's only up to whether you want to be a sniper or not. Coated optics is always useful. 280 meters signal range could be improved with coated optics. Enhanced gun lane drive, you don't need it. 2 and 1.8 seconds aim time for the two guns, respectively, are alright, they're decent enough, so you don't really need an enhanced gun lane drive. That'd just be a waste of cash and a waste of a slot. And toolbox is always useful. So yeah, it's only a crew of 2, so we're moving on to these guys. So with my commander, I'm going with Deadeye first because I use the 25mm, so the high rate of fire combined with doing loads and loads of module damage is going to be wonderful. So yeah, definitely going with Deadeye first. Safe storage, in case your ammo rack keeps getting damaged, then sure, you can go with that. Adrenaline Rush, I would normally say yes, go for it, because you're a tier 2, and autocannons are abundant over here. However, you're a French tank, so autocannons aren't really going to penetrate you. Even though you only have 20mm side and rear armor, it's sloped, so autocannons will still have a very hard time hitting you. So the only things that will be hitting you are things that do, 34 damage or something, which means that you may get left on less than 10% health, but really don't count on it. So I would say no, don't go with the Adrenaline Rush, but then it's up to you. Intuition, you don't need it for the 25mm because you shouldn't be carrying around loads of APCR. If you want to be a seal clubber, then sure, carry around a whole load of APCR and keep switching, because why not? But you reload quick enough to easily switch between the two types, and you don't really need to use any other type than AP with the 25mm, so don't go with Intuition. Signal boosting first, then relay if you want. Signal boosting is definitely a go with, because your 290 meters signal range is very, very bad. So go with signal boosting, definitely yes. Call for Vengeance, you don't have very good signal range, so probably no. At least not until you have signal boosting up. Situational awareness to extend your view range is definitely going to be useful. Snapshot, increase accuracy during turret rotation. It's a very slow turret traverse, but having extra accuracy whilst your slow turret traverses, it's always useful, so you could go with Snapshot. Armourer, is not a bad idea. Because you're a French tank, you have all of that armour. The only things that are going to get damaged are external modules, and the gun is one of those external modules. So armour, not a bad idea. Designate target, that's the same as getting one more shot off with the 25mm, so definitely designate target, not a bad idea. Sixth Sense, always a good idea. Eagle Eye, for once you've got Deadeye, Eagle Eye means that you can see all of that lovely module damage. It sort of works in tandem, so definitely go with Deadeye, then Eagle Eye. Because, yeah, damage. Jack of all trades, it's only a crew of 2, so that seems like a waste, don't bother with it. Recon, increase maximum view range, definitely not a bad idea. I would say yes, go for it, because 280 meters signal range, view range even, could be better. So, yeah, go with Recon. Mentor, I don't see the point in there's only one extra crew member, so no. And then you've got your common skills. And then your only other crew member is the driver. And I am going with off-road driving, because 34 degrees per second traverse speed for your hull is, although not particularly good, is alright enough that you don't really need to improve it at this point. So I'm going with off-road driving, because you don't travel very fast, and if you're going over soft or moderately soft terrain, you're going to be slow to crawl, and you really need to keep up with the battle to do anything in these French tanks. So go with that first. Clutch braking, like I said, yeah, not a bad idea. Preventive maintenance, in case whilst you're running away being French, you keep getting set on fire, then preventive maintenance you could do. Smooth ride and cruise accuracy whilst firing on the move, you could do, if you want, be a unrelenting steel wall, just moving towards them. And controlled impact, you don't move fast enough to ram things. If you do manage to ram things, you will do well, but I would say hold off on that, because the only way you're going to get a ram kill is by somebody ramming into you as a last-ditch attempt to kill you. So, yeah, I would say no, don't bother with that. Then, of course, you've got your common skills. So, the FCM 36 is a very impending looking Tier 2 tank, which is, I think, the best selling point of this tank. Obviously, the rest of the stats are very nice. It's a very, very good Tier 2 tank. I do enjoy it, even though I do feel dirty whilst driving it, because it's a seal clubbing tank, pretty much. The low-tier French tanks are seal clubbing tanks. However, that is offset by the slow speed and the gun selection, which you either have one pretty inaccurate gun which doesn't have that good penetration, or a not highly accurate, but a better accurate, low damage but high penetration gun that will just spam bullets at you. So, yeah, it's a very nice tank. I do enjoy it, and I got it for the looks, pretty much. So I will thank you for watching, and goodbye.